Craig Stobo, who's been our economic and politics and sort of culture commentator for over the last couple of months. He said during the lead up to the campaign that he thought that National's tax plan made no sense, did Craig? Or it certainly didn't stack up. And there almost was a confirmation of that today. Joining us to give his first impression on the announcement today and some, overview as to how he thinks the National Party is now going to get the money to afford those tax cuts. We're joined by Craig Stobo. Craig, welcome to the show. Love to have you on this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Michael. How are you?
Big day, mate. Big day.
Yeah, what a breath of fresh air. Well, it's like you've been sitting in a constrained environment driven by Wellington to this amazing change, which I think people should not underestimate the amount of change that's going to happen. And I just looked at the preamble to both agreements between National and New Zealand First, National and ACT, and the words that come through that speak to me are, quote, export powerhouse and restoring New Zealand to a world economic and social leader, which is aspirational. But then I go through the documentation and Nationals had to change quite a bit to accommodate the needs of both parties. So I share your view that when I logged on the last 5 or so minutes that, it has definitely moved centre-right. Although I disagree with spectrum kind of analysis of why you see politics, it just looks, many of this is unwinding policies before that didn't make a lot of sense. So just to be very clear about what's being stopped. So Three Waters is stopped, Auckland Light Rail is stopped, Let's Get Wellington Moving is stopped, the income insurance scheme is stopped, the industry transformation plans, which were an engagement between government and sectors around effectively skills and education, are gone, and of course Lake Onslow. So that's quite a lot of stuff that's going to stop. But then you add to that review of, actually two components of the new Resource Management Act, and then a complete review of the existing Resource Management Act to get to a better position on property rights. This is in the agreement with ACT. That's pretty significant because if they can remove impediments to consenting and focus on property rights, then you might find the rate of change for construction, both housing and commercial, will change significantly. On tax, the two deals are quite different in the way they're set out. The National Act document is one of recognising National's policies with some concessions, which is no income tax changes beyond 2024. So Nicola Willis's program, which was called the Back Pocket Boost Increase After Tax Pay, effectively looks like it will only apply for the 2024 year. And the fiscal plans that National had are now subject to new information. And that's a very clear signal, I think, that they need to get briefed by Treasury around exactly the rate of growth of our economy and the tax outlook. And I suspect that now means the fiscal plans will change. The Ministry of Regulation coming in, which sounds odd in itself, but it effectively replaces the Productivity Commission, should have teeth to unwind regulation that doesn't have a cost-benefit attached to it. The one that to me, it's not been commented on, but it's been pushed for by people like the New Zealand Initiative, is changes to the Overseas Investment Act. And it's going to limit ministerial discretion to strategic issues, which really is a very clear signal that foreign direct investment can improve in New Zealand, which would be wonderful if that could happen. Public sector spending will be wound back at a back office level only. So not front office.
Can I ask you about that, Craig? Because I looking at that document, I'm thinking there are going to be significant redundancies in the public sector, surely. The reset's back to 2017 levels. So if you think of the number of public servants that have come on board, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but let's just say 17,000. And the reset is back to that level, but they're going to have to find ways of ensuring that services can continue. So whether that's IT or decommissioning
consultants, as now Prime Minister Luxon mentioned in the campaign. You want to make sure that services can continue, but that's the objective. So it's very clear what they want to do, which is helpful for assessing accountability of these politicians, which is great.
Well, can I give you a bit of an update on that? The public sector, Craig, and this is not from the politicians, this is from the Public Service Commission. The public sector grew 29.3% from 2017 to 2023, to 30th of June 2023.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable growth when you think about it. So if you're going to take it back to 2017, that's an awful lot of people that are going to lose their jobs.
Well, they might lose jobs in the public sector, but there's certainly skill shortages in different parts of New Zealand in different industries, obviously. So it's a question of whether it can be absorbed elsewhere. But you're right. The objective is that, in terms of thousands of people, I don't exactly know what that number translates to.
I can tell you. I can actually tell you that too. I've got it right in front of me.
But I'm thinking 17 or 19,000.
Yeah, it'd be about that. Yeah.
So that's the target. It doesn't tell you how long they will take to do that, however. So there's an objective in terms of numbers, but it doesn't take you how long it's going to take. The other big thing, of course, in all of this, which we've been hoping for a while, is a reset of the Reserve Bank mandate to CPI only, so they remove the employment objective. So again, we go back to 2017, and there's discussion around specific time targets, not just using the words in the medium term. So if the target is 1% to 3%, then will they put in place a target that has to be achieved by? I'm not sort of going to die in the ditch on that, but it's really good that we go to CPI only, which in the current environment would indicate that, the higher for longer interest rate track remains, and if inflation remains sticky and we get some unemployment, the key focus is the CPI target, so rates will remain higher for longer. The other things are partnership schools, so back in play again. You already mentioned fees free, I think, for the last year. Removing the Maori Health Authority comes through.
Yes, that's right. It's gone. It's gone.
It's gone. And the Public Service Act is going to be amended to focus on clarity, the roles of departments, and performance, which I think is great. The key will be in the detail, though. Co-governance is gone. English as a first language is in. Focus on policies based on need, not race, is in. And, of course, the Treaty Principles Bill, which is a version, I suppose, of a referendum, is something that will go to select committee. So all those things come through in the national ACT piece. In terms of Winston Peters' pieces, there's lots of small. It's a bigger document and lots of smaller policies per se, but things like supporting Gumboot Free Friday, supporting Plunket, supporting St John, removal of all remaining vaccine mandates. I mean, there's lots of. What appears to me is that the constituents for both of those minor parties should be very happy about what they've been able to negotiate.
I agree.
With National under that umbrella. So
I agree. Yeah.
There'll be a lot of people playing, oh yes, that's exactly what we wanted. So to the extent that these guys have taken 20 plus days from the final vote count to get to this position is really, if they're taking the time to do this really, really well, which appears to be the case, then the constituent voters of those parties should be very happy. The key now is the bonfire, the policy bonfire, and how the advice is given to these key ministers on the state of the economy and what they intend to do with their fiscal measures, which is now clearly up for grabs because it's not accepted that the fiscal plans of National are appropriate in the current environment, and they need to just do some thinking about what is the new tax outlook, what is the implications of all these expenditure changes being recommended on the government accounts. So, look, from a business perspective, lots of really good detail in here around allowing business to prosper, allowing consumers to get greater choices, whether that's through local authorities who, it appears on the face of it, to be able to operate more freely and to possibly get some extra revenue through GST sharing, which is mentioned in the National Act document. So the liberalisation feel that I have today around what's occurring indicates opportunity, and I think that's terrific.